Yo, step into the darkness where shadows lurk, where every creak, moan leaves your mind berserk. In the heart of that night where feet take flight, horror grip, tiny so no escaping. It's Mike, haunted halls and with the echo with whispers untold, and chilling silence tales of our old from the deep of abyss where nightmares reside. A wave tale of terror, let your fear collide. Welcome to the realm where nightmares stream, in the land of horror where only the brave survives. I feel the street down your spine, the chill in the air, and the kingdom darkness where we dare to share. Blood moon rise, casting shadows long, and the maze with fear where you don't belong. Eyes glow in the dark, watching every move, and this quest games where nothing left to prove. Monsters under the bed, with ghosts in the mist, in the house of horrors with a soul kiss.
Veronica, have you read Diary Dreams? It's about a girl whose dreams start predicting terrible events.
Yes. It's so unsettling when she realizes she's not alone. I was on the edge of my seat.
Mike, Tina, Ben, and Ava were friends and college dorm mates. It was a Saturday evening. They were bored. They wanted to do something interesting. They thought it would be a good idea to check out the attic in their dorm, a place none of them had really explored before. They thought they might find some interesting stuff, maybe even something worth a little money. They climbed up to the attic and started digging into the old boxes and bags that were up there, covered in a thick layer of dust. The attic was like a treasure chest, just waiting to be opened. They found loads of old clothes that seemed like they came from another time, books with dog-eared pages, and heaps of papers that had been lying around for ages. They laughed and chatted as they worked, each old item sparking a new conversation or a joke. It turned out to be a pretty fun way to spend a boring afternoon. "Hey, look at this," Tina exclaimed, holding up a leather-bound diary. "It's from 1984. Maybe it has some juicy secrets or gossip." "Let me see," Mike said, grabbing the diary from her. He opened it and read the first page. It belongs to a girl named Lisa. She was a freshman here, just like us. "What does she write about?" Ben asked, leaning over Mike's shoulder. "Nothing much. Just her classes, her friends, her crushes. Typical teenage stuff," Mike said, flipping through the pages. "Maybe we can find out what happened to her," Ava suggested. "Maybe she graduated, or dropped out, or got married, or died," Tina said, in a spooky voice. "Stop it, Tina. That's not funny," Ava said. "Come on, guys, let's read it together. Maybe we can learn something from her life," Ben said. "Fine, but only if we take turns reading it aloud. And we have to do it in her voice," Mike said. "Deal," the others agreed. They sat down in a circle, with the diary in the middle. Mike picked it up and began to read. "Dear Diary, today was my first day at college. I was so nervous, but also excited. I met my roommate, Kelly. She seems nice, but a bit shy. We have a lot in common. We both like music, movies, and books. We also have the Benny major, psychology. I hope we can be good friends." Mike read for a while, then passed the diary to Tina. She continued the story. "Dear Diary, last night, I had a strange dream. In it, Kelly and I were walking down the dorm stairs when suddenly Kelly tripped and tumbled down the steps. It was intense. It felt so real." Tina read for a while, then passed the diary to Ben. He resumed the story. "Dear Diary, you won't believe what happened today. I was with Kelly, and just like in my dream, Kelly actually fell down the stairs. I can't help but wonder, was it just a coincidence or something more?" Ben stopped reading, shocked, and they exchanged looks of disbelief. Ben read for a while, then passed the diary to Ava. She carried on the story. Lisa had described in her diary so many incidents that came true. She was seeing visions of the bad incidents going to happen in the dorm, and some of them came true. She mentioned that some incidents happened just after she had the visions, some happened after a few days, and some even happened after a few months or never happened. Ava read for a while, then stopped. She looked at the others, who were pale and silent. "Guys, this is creepy. Maybe we should stop reading this," she said. "No, we have to finish it. Maybe there's an explanation. Maybe there's a way to stop it. Maybe there's a happy ending," Mike said. "Or maybe there's not," Tina said. "Come on, Ava. Just read the last page." "Please," Ben said. Ava sighed and picked up the diary. She read the last page. "Dear diary, I had the worst dream of all. I dreamt that there were 4 strangers in the dorm attic, and they were reading something. They looked like they were my age, but they wore different clothes and had different gadgets. Everything was going good, but then they smelled smoke. They looked out the window and saw flames. The dorm was on fire. They tried to escape, but it was too late. The fire had spread too fast. The door was locked. The window was barred. They screamed and cried, but no one heard them. They burned alive." Ava finished reading and dropped the diary. She looked at her friends, who were staring at her with horror. "Guys, do you smell that?" she asked. They sniffed the air and smelled smoke. They looked out the window and saw flames. They tried to escape, but it was too late.
What about Happy New Year? The story where a group of friends make a pact that leads to deadly consequences at midnight.
I did. But it's a new dark twist on new beginnings. They thought they were celebrating and turned into a nightmare.
These stories really make you think twice about sharing space or making a pact.
It was New Year's Eve and Jake was looking forward to celebrating with his friends at a cabin in the woods. He had packed his bags, loaded his car, and was ready to hit the road. He checked his phone and saw a text from his girlfriend, Amy, who was already at the cabin with the others. "Hey babe, can't wait to see you. Drive safe and hurry up. We have a surprise for you." Jake smiled and replied, "On my way. Love you." He started the engine and drove off, humming along to the radio. He was in a good mood, and nothing could ruin it. Or so he thought. About an hour into his drive, he noticed that the road was getting darker and more deserted. He checked his GPS and saw that he was still on the right track, but he felt uneasy. He decided to call Amy and let her know his ETA. He dialed her number and waited for her to pick up. But instead of hearing her voice, he heard a loud scream. "Amy? Amy? What you are owing?" Jake shouted, panicking. The screen was cut off by a click. The call ended. Jake tried to call her back, but there was no signal. He looked at his phone and saw that it had no bars. He was in a dead zone. He felt a surge of fear and anger. What was going on? Who was hurting Amy? Was it a prank? A robbery? A murder? He stepped on the gas and sped up, hoping to reach the cabin as soon as possible. He had to save Amy. He had to save his friends. He drove faster and faster, ignoring the speed limit and the road signs. He didn't care about anything else. He only cared about Amy. He reached the cabin in record time. He parked his car and ran to the door. He knocked frantically, hoping to hear a familiar voice. But there was no answer. He tried the knob and found that it was unlocked. He opened the door and entered the cabin. He wished he hadn't. The cabin was a mess. Furniture was overturned, windows were broken, blood was splattered everywhere. And in the middle of the living room, he saw the bodies of his friends. They were all dead. They had been stabbed, slashed, shot, and strangled. Their faces were twisted in pain and terror. Their eyes were wide open and staring. Jake felt a wave of nausea and horror. He stumbled back and dropped his phone. He wanted to scream, but he couldn't. He was too shocked. He looked around and saw a note on the wall. It was written in blood. It said, "Happy New Year, Jake. You're next." He heard a creak behind him. He turned around and saw a figure standing in the doorway. It was wearing a mask and holding a knife. It was Amy. She smiled and said, "Surprise. Happy New Year."
Hey Veronica, have you ever read The Unmarked Grave? It's about the detective that discovers hidden grave that leads to a shocking revelations.
Yes, the way he uncovers the town's darkest secrets is chilling.
Jack, Tammy, Peter, and Lily made a plan to go on an adventurous camping trip. They had been friends since childhood and wanted to spend some quality time together before they went off to college. They packed their tents, sleeping bags, food, and flashlights and drove to the secluded spot in the woods that Jack had found online. They set up their camp near a small stream and enjoyed a bonfire and some marshmallows. They told each other stories, jokes, and secrets until the night grew dark and cold. They decided to call it a night and crawled into their tents. The next morning, they woke up to a bright and sunny day. They ate some breakfast and decided to explore the woods. They followed a trail that led them deeper into the forest. They admired the trees, flowers, and birds along the way. They felt happy and carefree. They came across a clearing that looked like an old cemetery. There were several tombstones scattered around, some of them broken or tilted. They read the names and dates on the stones, trying to guess who they were and how they died. "Look at this one," Tammy said, pointing to a stone that read, "Here lies Mary Ann Jones, beloved wife and mother, died 1867. Wow, she was only 23 years old," Peter said. "Maybe she died of some disease or childbirth," Lily suggested. "Or maybe she was murdered by her husband," Jack joked. They all laughed nervously. They continued to look around the cemetery, finding more graves from the 19th century. They wondered why there was no sign or plaque to indicate who these people were or why they were buried here. They noticed a patch of dirt that looked different from the rest. It was darker and softer than the surrounding soil, as if someone had dug it up recently. "Hey, what's this?" Jack asked, walking towards it. He bent down and touched the dirt with his hand. He felt something hard underneath. He grabbed a stick and started to poke at the dirt, trying to uncover what was hidden below. "Jack, stop it," Tammy said. "You don't know what you're doing." "Yeah, leave it alone," Peter agreed. "It could be dangerous, or it could be treasure," Jack said. "Maybe there's gold or jewels down there." He kept digging with the stick, making a hole in the dirt. Lily watched him with curiosity. She wondered what he would find. Suddenly, Jack gasped. He dropped the stick and jumped back. "What is it?" Lily asked. Jack looked pale and scared. He pointed at the hole with a trembling finger. Lily looked inside and screamed. There was a skull staring back at them. It had empty eye sockets and rotten teeth. It was covered with dirt and worms. But that was not the worst part. The worst part was that it looked exactly like Jack's skull. Jack felt a surge of fear and pain as he looked at the skull. He felt a sharp stab in his chest, as if someone had pierced his heart with a knife. He clutched his chest and fell to the ground. "Jack!" Tammy shouted, running to him. "Jack, are you okay?" Peter and Lily followed her, looking worried and confused. Jack opened his eyes and saw their faces above him. He tried to speak, but only a weak whisper came out. "I saw it. I saw how I die." "What are you talking about?" Peter asked. "I think the skull did something to me. It showed me how I die in this graveyard." "Jack, calm down," Tammy said. "You're not going to die. It was just a hallucination." Maybe you ate something bad or got bitten by something. We'll get you out of here and take you to a hospital. You'll be fine." No, you don't understand. It was so vivid, so real. I saw it clearly. Jack closed his eyes and shuddered. "What did you see?" Lily asked, curious and scared. I saw myself lying on the ground, right here, with a knife in my chest, and a note next to me. It said, "I know what you did. You deserve this." And then I saw him. "Who?" Peter asked. "The killer, the one who stabbed me." He was wearing a mask made of human skin. He looked at me with cold eyes and said, "You're next." And then he laughed. He laughed like a maniac. Jack opened his eyes again and looked at his friends with terror. "He's coming for us. He's coming for all of us." "Jack, stop it," Tammy said. "You're scaring us. There's no killer. There's no mask. There's no note. It's all in your head." "No, it's not. It's real. It's happening. We have to get out of here. We have to run." "Jack, please," Peter said. "You're not making any sense. You need help. You need medical attention." No, Jack said, shaking his head. "We have to go. We have to go now." He tried to get up, but he was too weak. He fell back down, gasping for air. Jack, Tammy said, holding his hand. Stay with us. But it was too late. Jack's eyes rolled back, and he stopped breathing. He was dead. Tammy screamed and hugged his body. Peter and Lily stared in shock and disbelief. They couldn't believe what had just happened. They couldn't believe that their friend was gone. They couldn't believe that they were alone in the woods with a dead body and a mysterious skull. They didn't know what to do. They didn't know what to think. They didn't know what to feel. They were scared. They were sad. They were angry. They were lost. They decided to bury Jack in the graveyard where they found the skull. They dug a hole next to the unmarked grave and placed Jack's body inside. They covered him with dirt and said a few words of goodbye. They cried and hugged each other. They felt guilty and sorry. They wondered why this had happened to them. They wondered if they could have done something to prevent it. They wondered if they were next. They left the graveyard and headed back to their camp. They packed their things and got into their car. They drove away from the woods as fast as they could. They never looked back. They never returned. They never forgot.